So your credit score dropped and it looks like it was for no apparent reason. I'm going to tell you why it dropped coming up. Hey everyone, if you've been trying to work on your credit and you have barely been seeing any results, you need to go ahead and take a look at the workshop that I just opened up that is currently free so that you can learn where you went wrong while you were trying to work on your credit. During that lesson, you'll learn the 4 don'ts when it comes to working on your credit, the mistakes people make when writing dispute letters, why you shouldn't only dispute with the credit bureaus, and also the accounts that people waste time disputing. Not to mention, you'll get to see real results from a customer who used my methods and they were able to get their credit straightened out and bought a brand new home within 7 months. So go ahead and sign up for that training today. The link is going to be down in the bio. And while you're trying to work on your credit, you have to see all 3 of your credit reports and scores. And MyScoreIQ, a company that I use for myself and for all of my customers, has a $1 7-day trial so you can see your credit reports and scores so you can know where you stand, because you can't work on your credit without knowing what's going on all 3 reports. So please check out MyScoreIQ. The link to them is going to be down in the description as well. Hey everybody, Will Frazier here, your credit expert, bringing you the tips you need to get your credit back on track, because what goes down must come up. And if you don't want your credit score to drop 300 points, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you'll be notified of every video I drop just like this. So you've been looking at Credit Karma or wherever else you check your credit, and you notice that your credit score just dropped all of a sudden and you didn't do anything. So you don't really know what happened or what could have caused your score to drop the way it did. And I can tell you in some instances it can be easy to tell, but in other instances it might be very hard and you may have to do quite a bit of digging just to see what it was that happened. So because of that, I can tell you that the best way to usually try to identify what it is that caused your score to drop is going to be to have some type of company that monitors your credit, where you can actually go back and look at a past report over the past few days. I know on Credit Karma it does give you an option where you can kind of see if something changed with your score. It may tell you, you know, what account changed around the time, so that makes it a little bit easy for you. But the problem with them is they don't show you all 3 credit bureaus, so there may be some missing information out there that you won't get to see. But I know on MyScoreIQ they actually give you the option where you can see your current credit report, and then you can hit a drop down and it'll show you your last month's credit report, so you can kind of compare the 2 and see what may have changed. But however you're looking at and monitoring your credit is going to be important to identifying what happened between 1 month to the next month or 1 week to the next week, to kind of see what changed and see what caused your credit score to drop. But before you even do all of that digging, I'm going to go ahead and let you know of at least 3 things that I know are most common when people see that drop in their credit score and it looks like it just happened out of nowhere. So the very first thing that most people are seeing a credit score drop from, and especially now during the holidays, is usually because you have a credit card that is open and you went and you spent some money not thinking about it. Or it could be that you paid a bill with a credit card or something different like that, maybe gas, food. But either way it goes, you used your credit card and not thinking about it and how it would affect your credit score based on when it gets reported. You may have increased your credit utilization, which can fluctuate very dramatically on credit cards with lower credit limits like $300 or $500. So you can spend, you know, like $100 or so, and in some instances $50, and it can take your credit utilization to a point where it can dramatically drop your credit score. Now, you know, you just made the purchase and then a month later you just see your score drop. At that point you didn't do anything in that current month, so you don't think anything that you did caused it, but in reality it's probably because you used your credit card for something. Now the second thing that usually happens that causes a credit score to drop without people even knowing that they did it is them actually paying off a loan, whether it be a personal loan or a car loan or something like that. Paying off any loan drops your credit score. And if you haven't looked at your credit report from month to month, you've probably never seen this. But if you ever pay off a loan or a car, go and look at your credit report at least 30 days after, and I can almost guarantee you that if you had nothing else to change on your credit report during that same time frame and you see that that's the only change, you'll be able to identify very easily that that was the item that actually caused your credit score to drop. And most people don't know that paying off loans drops their credit score, which causes more confusion. Of course, you think when you're paying off a loan you're doing a good thing, and you are, because you're paying something off and you no longer have a payment on that. But that action, actually the action of that account closing, is what causes your credit score to drop. Now, what is the third thing that usually happens that causes people's credit scores to drop? that's going to be an account closing that was previously reported as open. Now, sometimes this can be that you have an old account that you may have paid off and it may have been a while ago, but on your credit report, because there are always a bunch of errors on people's credit reports, may still be showing up as open. And let's say that you started disputing some other accounts, and maybe that account is one of them, and then that account was one that was still marked as open, so it wasn't hurting you like it should have, but then all of a sudden they go ahead and mark it as closed now that you sent a dispute. Or maybe it's just out the blue that they randomly updated their records that they report, and then it ends up getting reported as closed. That closure of whatever the loan is or credit card can actually cause your credit score to drop. And of course, that is definitely something that you wouldn't have been thinking of, because every time you pay off an account, I'm sure you already think that the effect of that has hit your credit report. But a lot of times, like I said, it's a lot of errors on people's credit reports, usually caused by the credit bureaus not monitoring and regulating the stuff on their credit reports, and also because the creditor may have just been late in reporting the information. Now, if you've seen anything like the 3 things I just mentioned happen to you on your credit report, go ahead and talk about it in the comment. And I'm also going to go ahead and give you 2 bonus things that may cause your credit score to drop that you may or may not be aware of when they happen. Now, this first one, a late payment showing up on your credit report, now that is more likely that you would know that you were late on a credit report. But if you weren't thinking about it and it got reported a little bit later after it happened, then of course, you know, that late payment may hit your credit report. It may drop your score tremendously, and then once you do see it, then you know you'll remember what happened. So that one won't usually catch people off guard too bad, but sometimes it can be a collection company that hits your credit report, and then you all of a sudden, you know, see your score drop, and you weren't thinking about a collection. It could be, you know, from a medical bill that you thought would have been a covered item. It could be a copay, a lab, or something like that. You never got anything in the mail about it, and then it just hits your credit report, drops your score, and you're like, you know, what's going on, what happened? And then you got to go through your credit report to see that a new collection was added on your credit report, and that's what caused your score to drop. I actually see a lot of people get caught off guard by this one, and it can be medical bills or any type of collection account, but usually, like I said, they can catch people off guard because you're just not expecting the timing of it to happen. And I'm gonna throw one extra thing in there. Also, if you have been getting to the point where you're close to being late on your credit account, 30 days late I'm talking about, but you're not at the 30-day mark yet, what you may see is in the past due column, which usually shows up as 0 on an open account, once you've gotten past the due date for that credit card or whatever, you're gonna see that after you get a certain amount of days past that payment due date, that a past due amount will show up on a certain column in that account on your credit report, and then you will see your score drop. Now that drop is a temporary drop. It is not as bad as a 30-day late payment, and as soon as you go ahead and pay the account, that past due amount will go back to 0, and then you'll see that score change go in reverse. But again, you may see your score drop not thinking about it, because you may know, yeah, I'm not 30 days late, so it shouldn't be a late payment, but you're not thinking about the fact that you're beyond the due date of your credit card payment. So you'll end up seeing that effect, not knowing what's going on, and you know, then you'll see it go away. And then of course it's just confusing because you don't know what happened. But that is another thing that can happen and cause your credit score to drop without you knowing what's going on and just leaving you confused. So I hope this information was helpful in getting you guys some insight on what can cause a score to drop that most people wouldn't think of or wouldn't know to look for. So hopefully this helps you. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I'll see you guys next time.